The announcement that Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is going to retire. I don't know if he's given a date on when he's going to retire. I would imagine that he's just giving kind of an early notice to Biden. Hey, I'm going to be stepping down probably at the end of this term. Supreme Court terms usually end around the end of June, sometime in June. So I would imagine he's probably going to be around until then. He might retire early, I don't know. But it does give enough time for Biden to kind of vet some candidates and replace him and kind of make a smooth transition for the outgoing justice and the incoming justice without a huge worry about is there going to be an issue filling the seat in time for the next session, which starts in September. So that is always big news in the United States when a Supreme Court justice steps down. There are only 9 justices, and they essentially have final word over what is and is not legal and constitutional when there's a dispute on the law. So this is a big deal. My problem with this is that how it's been handled. So I actually am surprised that Breyer waited this long to retire. I honestly thought he was going to retire last summer because you want to get it. If you're a liberal justice, you want a Democrat replacing you. It was really stupid for Ruth Bader Ginsburg to say, "Oh, I'm just going to wait on Hillary Clinton to appoint my successor." Well, Hillary didn't win, and then she died a month before the election, and Donald Trump got to replace her. And that's how we got Amy Coney Barrett on the bench, and that was a huge swing in the makeup of the court. Well, this is smart on Breyer's decision to retire during a Democrat president. I think he should have retired last summer, as did a lot of Democrats. But hey, doing it now is fine. What this does let you know, one thing you need to know, what this really proves is that even Stephen Breyer thinks Democrats are going to get wiped out in November. I believe he thinks that Democrats are going to lose control of the Senate for sure. And I think and that's the main issue with getting somebody appointed to replace him that's kind of in his line of thinking on how the law should work. So that's what I'm thinking here. My concern with this isn't that I'm glad Breyer's going, or are they going to pick someone even crazier than he is when it comes to decisions. I fully expect President Biden to appoint someone who's a psychopath when it comes to the law. My actual thing here is I've listened to Justice Breyer and how he, the questions he asks and the positions he takes in Supreme Court arguments. And I've watched a lot of videos of him kind of interacting with other justices and with people who are knowledgeable in the law. And I mean, he seems, while I disagree with his judicial philosophy, he seems like a really decent guy, a really, really good person. And I believe he was treated terribly. Especially last year, he was definitely treated terribly. But with this year and his announcement to retire, he was treated awfully. And it really bothers me. It almost feels like Democrats decided to, you basically decided to kind of try to force him out, which I don't know why you're doing it in January. You could have waited until April to try to force him out. I mean, like I said, you want someone like him on the court do you think he's going to die sometime in the next couple of months? I don't think so. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg looked like she was going to die for the last 5 years, but he looks still healthy and spry, and I don't know why you're trying to force him out this early when you can wait until the end of the judicial term. But, that's really what it looks like. And the proof is right here. Apparently, Breyer was pissed that his announcement to retire was leaked and that it got out to the press, because justices are normally afforded a certain level of, hey, you can retire when you want, you can make the announcement when you think is appropriate. Some justices want to do like a kind of formal, I'm going to call the president, I'm going to let him know I'm planning to retire on this day. I will stay on the court until a replacement can be done. I remember back in the 2000s, mid 2000s, Sandra Day O'Connor said she was going to retire, but then William Rehnquist, Chief Justice William Rehnquist, he died in the meantime, and so it was, Sandra Day O'Connor said, hey, I will stay on the court until you can find my replacement. So, go ahead and take care of the chief position first, and then you can take care of mine. So Sandra Day O'Connor, kind of did George W. Bush a solid there a little bit, stayed on the court for like an extra few months. So that was kind of cool, and it would have been nice for Breyer to have that kind of, I'm going to call the president, I'm going to let him know I'm going to retire, this is my day, and all that stuff. And apparently he was really mad that it got out before he made an official announcement to retire. And that's too bad, because like I said, he seems like a nice guy. I've never met him, obviously. Some of his more recent, when I listen to the court recordings, he sounds like a cranky old man more recently, but when I go back into like the 2000s and those cases like that, he just seems like a guy who wants answers and is really trying to, purvey a message, purvey his take on everything. And, I like it. It's like a really cool college professor that you liked. That's what he seems like on the court. And it would have been nice for him to have that whole thing just go through and retire the way he wanted to. Unfortunately, he didn't get that. And it's, I think that goes to show this had to have been leaked. This really had to have been leaked by somebody in the administration. So it really shows the level of disrespect that the people in the Biden administration, like I said before, I do not think Biden is really running this administration. So it's somebody in his administration that leaked this, and I think it was messed up. And it just shows a level of disrespect towards this justice and this process that I think is just, it's gross, basically. And and there's video of this. You can take a look at this right here. This is from townhall.com on their Twitter. The level of disrespect shown in this 45-second clip towards Justice Breyer, and this time it is specifically by President Biden, is disgusting. It is absolutely despicable. I saw it and was just like, you son of a bitch. How dare you treat somebody on the Supreme Court like this? That is terrible. And we'll just let you see it for yourself.
Thank you all so very, very much for being here. And I'm not going to take any questions because I think it's inappropriate to take questions with the justice here. He's still sitting on the bench, but you'll have plenty of opportunities to get me later today and for the rest of the week, next week too. So thank you very much. Thank you.
In deference to the moment. Sir, what?
So, if you didn't catch that, remember, people are wearing masks for a reason. Now, I've said this repeatedly before in other videos. Masks are stupid, but here's the thing: is if you were going to be wearing masks, the age range for people who should probably be wearing masks are the age of Joe Biden and the age of Stephen Breyer. Stephen Breyer is 83 years old. So for you to hand your mask to a sitting U.S. Supreme Court justice, like he's your assistant, like he's your servant or something like that, the level of disrespect to me is just absolutely astounding, and that is just awful. I don't know who Biden thinks he is. I know he's the president, but that is a scumbag move. That's a dick move, and I can't believe he did that. That is fucking ridiculous. Well, going back to Justice Breyer resigning, who's going to replace him? Well, here's the thing. The replacement pick so far, President Biden has only said he's going to choose a black woman. That's it. They've said nothing about qualifications. Are they good enough? Do they have experience? Nothing like that. What's their experience in the law? What's their experience being a judge? Anything like that. So the only thing he said, oh, we're going to appoint a black woman. Well, if that's your only requirements, I mean, that's a lot of people. But it is really kind of weird considering Biden himself has had a checkered history, we'll say, when it comes to appointing black women to be judges. Going back to, when was this? This was in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Janice Rogers Brown, she was the what's it called? Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court. She was nominated by Bush several times to be on the DC circuit. Not only did Biden vote to block her, he voted to use the filibuster to block her, which is kind of odd. So he was blocking a black female judge from being able to be elevated to one of the highest courts in the land. In fact, the DC circuit's always called kind of the second highest court in the land. He blocked her from being able to serve on that court using the filibuster, which now he says is a remnant of Jim Crow, which he's the one that's been using it for Jim Crow purposes, apparently. So he has a history of blocking black female justices from high positions in the judiciary. So that's kind of creepy, number one. So now all of a sudden he wants a black woman on the Supreme Court. I'm fine with a black woman on the Supreme Court, but he doesn't really have much of a history of advancing that, that kind of, advancing black women into the judiciary at all. In fact, he tries to keep them down for the most part. Also, Democrats, just a couple of years ago, they tried to block. You had 13 Senate Democrats who voted against a black female judge that was nominated by Trump. Luckily, she is now a federal district court judge, and she is on the she's serving there now. I mean, is it too much to hope at this point? Maybe Biden is senile enough to, kind of make a choice, kind of like the first George Bush did with David Souter, picking someone Souter was actually an activist liberal judge and put him on the Supreme Court. Is it too much to hope maybe Biden is stupid enough and just, his brain is gone where he might choose somebody who's maybe a more conservative judge when they actually get on the court? Man, I would hope so, maybe. So, but I doubt it. I mean, like I said, I don't think Biden's actually going to be the one making this choice. I think it'll be somebody else. And yeah, there is a checkered history, but you're going to hear a lot of this going forward, where he's going to nominate a black woman. People are going to say she's outside the mainstream for a lot of different reasons. They're going to bring up specific reasons why she shouldn't be on the Supreme Court, and they're just going to call her racist, they're just call them racist and sexist, and that'll be it. The reality is, though, Joe Biden has disrespected Stephen Breyer. He has not been a good person when it comes to elevating black women into the judiciary, and this is obviously just playing politics. So, however, what this all comes down to is pretty simple. There's not going to be a huge fight. If anything, this is just going... I think since Breyer, if he's going to be retiring early, I think Republicans might want to just burn through the confirmation process as quickly as possible. It doesn't change the makeup of the court. It's still basically, 6-3 Republican... Well, it is 6-3 Republican appointees, but Kavanaugh and Roberts are kind of, really wishy-washy and just really not good justices. They can go more liberal. So, it's really more of a 5-4 court right now for the most part. So I don't think there's going to be it's not really going to make a difference in the makeup of the court. So I think Republicans might just say, go ahead, whatever. We're not going to vote for it, but go ahead, do your thing. and she'll get through, and that'll be the end of it. We'll have a black woman on the Supreme Court, which, cool, I guess. I said that when Obama got elected, and I was like, all right, cool, black president. All right, he's probably gonna suck, and he did. But but I think overall, this process so far, it's only been a couple of days. I think it just shows that Barack Obama was right about Joe Biden. Never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck shit up.